Hello friends and fellow creators, Eric here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I plan out my paintings once inspiration strikes. So I'm going to break out my new Strathmore Mixed Media sketchbook that I got, and I'm going to be showing you how I choose my color palettes and how I go about making plans for a bigger piece so that I don't end up wasting materials. So let's get started. So you'll see here that I've laid out the colors that I plan on using. I'm using Prismacolor color pencils here, and this is the general color scheme that I'm wanting to work with. So I set out the greens, pinks, blue hues that I'm going for, and then a gold. So I've already set down some washi tape, and I'm just going to kind of do some mock-ups. I'm going to be working on a 24 by 36 canvas, so it's a pretty large project. I am a little bit scared because I haven't worked on a big canvas in a minute. So I did get out a smaller canvas and primed it with the blue that I'm wanting to use as an undertones. It's a really vibrant blue. My plan, what I'm going for, is to do a big fluid abstract piece with like a swoop of color in the middle with these tones against that blue background, and then do some floral work over that. So it's going to be an ambitious project with a bunch of layers. The flowers are probably going to be done in oils. So I have a bunch of materials that I've been really wanting to try out, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to do that. So I've got some free samples that I got from Golden. I'll leave a link in the description for the video on how you can get your own. Basically, I just went to their site and went to their contact form and was like, hey, I'm an artist and I really like to try your products, but they are kind of pricey, so can you send me some? And these are the fluid acrylics. So I have Prussian blue, magenta, and yellow ochre that I'm going to be trying out. So you'll see I'm going to be doing some mixing and just kind of swatching these out onto the canvas. I want to get them to match as closely to these as possible. I've already kind of decided which colors I'm going to go with, and then so I'm going to just show you what they look like together, and we'll go from there. I'm also going to be using these Liquitex soft body acrylics. I really love these paints. They just have a really good softness to them that allows them to blend into the canvas, so there's like not a lot of grit left over. I really want to get large bottles of these, but again, they're a little bit pricey. So these came in a sample pack that I got with a fluid kit that had some string gel and other mediums in it by Liquitex. I love all their products, but this is definitely my favorite paint. I'm hoping that the Golden kind of lives up to the name because I'm really excited to use that. It'll be my first time using that medium. So what I've done here with these color swatches, I've just written the number that corresponds with each pencil so that I can remember where it is. So when I look at my color palettes, I say, I really like this one. I think it's 1087. So I'm just going to swatch it right here real fast. Sorry if my camera jiggles a little bit. It's on the table. And then out of these blues, I'm really liking this darker tone, and it's actually pretty much a Prussian blue. They're about the same color, so that'll be really easy to blend and mix. So we've got this one down. And then out of these teals, I'm kind of partial to this one, so we're just going to do that. I think this pink is too pink for my purposes, so I'm going to leave that one out. And then I might throw an orange in there. Yeah, I think that works really well. Let's see. This one is 1007, so I'm just going to throw it right here. And then I've got my gold pencil as well. I'll probably end up using gilding paint or gold leaf instead of just a gold color pencil, but this is just going to be an accent color so I can kind of swatch it out and see what I'm doing. But I really like the way that all of these play together, and I think they'll work really well on that blue canvas. So now I'm just going through and mixing and trying to make these look as much like the swatches as possible. And then once I have the color down the way that I like it, I'm just swatching them down next to it. I just really want to get a good idea of where I need to be at so that when I'm working in large quantities, again, I'm not wasting any materials. I've never really done these vlog style tutorials before. I'm always really into editing. I think it's just the perfectionist nature of me, and I do a lot of graphic design, so I get really into, the nitty gritty and making sure everything's perfectly aligned, and so abstract art is kind of my way of letting go, and so I'm sorry if I'm not talking too much or anything, guys, but this is all kind of new. So you see this is way more purple than I want. I'm just going to add a little touch of yellow. So it seems like it's going to be a trickier color. So a little regular red. There we go. Now we're getting there. There we go. There's not really an exact science to mixing colors. I know some people will say 1 part's this to 2 parts that and all that. I'm not one for recipes. I just really like to go for it and see what happens. And I think I kind of have an eye for color. Sometimes I miss the mark, but for the most part, I kind of know where I'm going when I already start mixing. So you see that looks a lot like the green that we're going for. It's kind of a seafoam. It's a little bit greener than the swatch, so I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of white. And this is why I plan. Of course the colors aren't going to be the same all over the canvas, so I want to get some blending and stuff like that. There we go, that's more like it. Can even be a little lighter than that. What I really like about this Strathmore sketchbook is that it really holds up against all mediums. I follow this artist, and I'm sure a few of you do too. Her name is Minnie Small, and if you don't follow her, she's fantastic. She's a UK-based artist, and I follow her Patreon and her YouTube. She's really talented, and she recommended this sketchbook, so I couldn't find it anywhere at my local art stores. I actually ordered it on Amazon. So what we said before, this Prussian blue is pretty much the same. So this is the fluid acrylic. Oh yeah, it's really fluid. That's cool. Might be a little darker than I'm going for my color scheme. You see it kind of looks black here. It's not that dark, but I'm going to add a tiny bit of white. Yeah. That's more like what I want. Perfect. So that's the blue we want. I'm just going to move this over so you can kind of see. There we go. I know I've got this shadow here. Alright, so... You know, sometimes I'll just sit on YouTube or I'll sit on Instagram and I watch people mixing their paints or, you know, doing experiments with bubbles and milk and water. Have any of you tried that? Because I would really like to see a video of that, maybe from someone I know. I think this Prussian blue is the same, except lightened here. There might be a hint of red in there, so I'm just going to take, actually, I'm going to take this this fluid acrylic magenta that we have going on here and mix it in. Oh yeah, see, now I went too purple. It's fine. There we go. I think I need a little more white. Let's just put that over here. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Alright, so now that we have the swatches that we were going for, and they all match, I think this is an awesome color scheme. It's going to look really cool. So now I'm just going to take this over here, kind of do a planning session. So the background is just all going to be blue, so let me just grab my blue and get started. Just going to put a big glop of this on there. Now, I actually don't know if I want the background now to be this seafoam color because I'm really digging it, so I'm going to do a test for both and see how I like it. I think I put down too much of that, but we'll see. The paint I'm using is just a matte finish, I think. Let's see. Yeah, this is Cayman Blue by Multi-Surface. Let's see. Folk Art paint. This is just matte finish. I think it's neon, supposed to be neon. Anyway, I really like these brands. They come with iridescent and crazy colors too. Like I have some metallic pink that I might incorporate into this. But yeah, this is the background color, so let's do that. And I'm going for a really flat background. Sometimes I'll go with like effects in the background or whatever, but that's really not what I'm going for here. So let's just brush this out. And okay guys, I've recently discovered washi tape. I didn't know it was a thing, so I've been struggling with masking tape like my whole life. And then I started trying to learn to do watercolor, and people were like, oh yeah, use washi tape, it's, you know, the best thing. And I was like, that tape looks really flimsy and lame, like that's not gonna work. But washi tape has totally changed my life. I know that's a silly thing to say, but whenever I've tried to make shapes and stuff, it just hasn't worked. Like, this is much better. So you'll see when I pull the washi up, it's like a perfectly clean outline. This is the same blue I was using on the other canvas. I just think it's too blue. What do you guys think? Like, I think maybe it's too in your face. It's very like that blue crayon that you liked when you were little, like the prettiest crayon in your blue crayon in your box. This is a really weird thing to say, but I had like a favorite blue crayon. It's like the super vibrant one. That's exactly what this color is. I'm going to go through and try with the seafoam and see if I like that better for the background, because I'm not even sure if I think that might be too aggressive for a background. For a whole, 24 by 36 painting. I'm just not sure. Yeah, I think this might be better. I could even gradient it out if I wanted to, but... So a lot of you ask how long I've been painting and stuff. I'm actually 28, so I'm not that old, but I've been painting for a long time. I went to school for fine art and graphic design because I couldn't decide on which one I wanted to do. So I was like, I'll do both because why not? And you see I'm not really blending all the way here because it doesn't really matter. It's just for practice, right? So yeah, I've been painting for about 15 years, maybe a little longer. And, I never anticipated making tutorials or anything like that. I just really like making art. But lately, especially with social media and all that, I've been really caught up in all the, comparing yourself to other artists. And I do have a video about this, but I really do struggle with that a lot because you see people, and they're so good at the marketing, and they're so good at social media and getting their work out there. And I was talking to my fiance about this because I came to the realization that it's not that I have an obsession with becoming a known artist, because that's not necessarily what I want to do, but I realized that I was internalizing that. I was like, I need to get my work seen, I need to get it out there, and that's not really what it's about. It's really about just enjoying what you're doing and creating because you like creating. And sometimes I lose focus of that, and it's hard not to. So I think sometimes I just need a reminder. And so I've been trying to take a break from social media. I actually uninstalled Facebook from my phone, and I've just been using it on the computer to answer your questions and comments and stuff. And it's really helped me a lot, because my Facebook comments and stuff can get pretty busy. I get a lot of messages about technique and stuff. And that's why I released my recipe video on my fluid art, because everyone always has questions, and it doesn't seem fair to me that a lot of artists keep it a secret. I know it's kind of backwards to say, oh, I spent probably hundreds of hours trying to figure out this recipe and how to make art in a specific way, and then you're just giving it out for free to people. And yeah, I could be making money off of that, but I think that art is for everybody, and I didn't create fluid art, so I think that it's something that should be shared, and I guess that's my philosophy on it. Other artists would probably not think the same thing, but that's just kind of where I'm at with that. Alright, so we've got our backgrounds. I kind of went ahead and blended this a little bit, so it's got green and some crazy tones going on, and I don't know if that's the way I'm going to keep it, but I'm kind of liking the way it looks. Like, I was thinking I could take some white and kind of even sponge it down the middle. I think I've got a sponge brush around here. So if I had this with fluid in the middle, I could almost create an arc like this, going thicker in the middle and then thinner towards the ends, and then create some texture going up in here like this. I went outside the washi tape, but again, this is just practice, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, so on a big canvas, when this is still wet and very fluidy, I could kind of create some effects that way. Maybe go in with some white lines and kind of do line work in behind it. So we'll see what we're going to do there. I'm not sure yet. Just cleaning off my brush here. So yeah, but what I'm really going for is a big, almost blossom of flowers. So I want it to start from here with just some leaf work, blossom in the middle, and then come here. But it's going to be abstract in the background. And I usually don't do a lot of intense planning like this for work. I just go at it. But I think sometimes it helps me just to get into the flow, to actually, you know, just look at it and be like, this is what it is. I'm not going to waste materials. It helps me kind of be focused with what I want to do, and I don't end up having to repaint over a bunch of stuff and all that. So, all right, so we're going to take these colors that we mixed. My paint isn't necessarily dry yet. Am I going to be impatient, or am I going to just be good and wait? There we go. That's the coral I wanted. So yeah, my idea is to go in with like palette knives and just kind of swoosh in color all in here like this. And the same will be for like the pink tone. But I really want to accentuate that all of this is in bloom up in here. And then it's going to swoop up like that. And then there'll probably be white lines running through it, like very intricate line work. And then in the center we'll do some leaves once that dries. The blue is not dry enough to really do anything here, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for today. And, you know, I'll get started on the canvas tomorrow, so you guys can kind of see me work through this piece from beginning to finish. And I really hope that this helped you kind of get an idea for how to plan out your work. If you feel a little bit intimidated or like it's too daunting to work on big canvas, this is just a really good broad way to get everything down and your thoughts down. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me or leave me a comment. I'm always answering comments and questions. I'm always happy to talk to you guys about my process and what materials I use and where I get it and all that. You can find me everywhere at Erik Quinn Art. And until next time, you guys, have a good day.